Those of you considered young mothers, do you regret having children at the age you did? I have been with my husband for nearly 2 years now, and I'm starting to get what you might call baby fever. I'm 21 years old and I'm not sure whether to start trying with my boyfriend or wait a few more years. We live together and we're very financially stable, but I don't know whether I'm too young to be thinking of motherhood. My partner and I have discussed having children at length, but it has always been in the context of sometime in the future. Saying this, I know that he wants kids by the time he's 30 because he's told me before that he doesn't want to be considered an old dad. Not that 30 is old for a dad, he's silly like that, I suppose. Have any of you who have had children at a relatively young age ever regretted doing so? I want to be able to make a completely informed decision, and I would love to hear from your stories. I had children at a very young age, much younger than you are now, and I do wish I had waited, only because I know I could have been a much better parent had I waited. Finances are a big part of it, and if you're stable, then that's a big point in your favor. You seem mature enough. Are you finished with any education that you might want? I was 20 when my son was born, and I will never regret having them, but if I could ensure that I'd get the same child if I waited until I was done with school and with a loving partner and we both wanted a baby, then I'd go back and undo it. I hope that makes sense. I fell pregnant in 21, and I'm now 22 years old with a 7-month-old child. I would not change a damn thing. We are not in an ideal situation, but she's in a stable and loving home, and we all have the support we need. We are very fortunate in the way things have turned out, and I do not regret any of our decisions. Hi, I'm 21 years old, and I have a 14-month-old son with my 27-year-old husband. We started actively trying to conceive when we were 21 and 24. It took about a year. I had him a month before my 23rd birthday, and do I regret it? Absolutely not. If I could go back and change it, I wouldn't even consider it. Sometimes I wish I had waited just a little longer and done a little more, but really anything I wanted to do, aside from travel the world, which wouldn't have been an option anyway, I can still do. In response to your question, yes, most of the time. I'm 23 years old with a beautiful 3-year-old son. He means the world to me, but sometimes I feel like I cheated myself out of the fun and freedom of young adulthood. My current boyfriend is the father, and we've been together for almost 5 years. Having our baby forced me to mature considerably faster than I would have otherwise. I am fairly certain of that, and I don't know how I would have been able to have a decent enough job, to have a nice, fun, youthful lifestyle, even if I hadn't had a baby, considering my maturity level in college was honestly quite lower than what it is right now. If he has a time frame in mind, then maybe discuss a goal for trying for kids in a year or 2 years. You can enjoy being a couple without kids for longer, and please appreciate it because it's awesome, and then you can start your family with all of that out of the way. I was 17 when I got pregnant and 18 when my daughter was born. Prior to becoming a mom, I had plenty of responsibility, many more than the average kid. I damn near raised my sister and babysat kids since 14 years old, full-time job, and not fucking around by the way, so I fully knew how difficult it could be. I regret that I could not provide a more secure and stable income. I regret that her sperm donor skipped out before she was even born. I regret that I did not have the ability or education to fully understand all that was involved. I regret that she does not have all the advantages in life that her peers have. Considering that I was really mature for 18 years old, I still feel I should have waited. So to answer your question, I regret having my daughter when I was so young because she deserves the best of me and what I can be, and that came with time and education. Even so, she's the best thing to ever happen, and if given the chance, I would never change a thing. I'm grateful and exceptionally happy I had her, but I wish I could have given her the childhood she deserved. Things like the kiddie vacations to Disney World, tree houses, dolls, and all the other fun stuff of childhood, and not the hand-me-downs and junk for toys in a shitty apartment or no gas in the winter. I had my son when I was 20 years old. I am now 25 years old and a single parent. Do I regret my timing? Yes and no. Yes, I regret it for him. I feel like he has spent his first years of his life with a stressed parent who is still growing up herself. I wish I had been in a better financial position. Lack of money and not owning a home is stressful. When you have a child, all you want for them is calm and stability. I wish I had completed my university education before having him. I always felt like I was doing a million things but never one thing properly. Until recently, I felt like a bad mom for it. No, I don't regret it from a selfish perspective. He made me a much better person, more motivated to succeed, to set good examples, to stay out of trouble, and to stop thinking of myself and how everything impacted on me so much. He helped me become a person that I like. Being a mom can be really, really hard, but now that he's older, I enjoy so much of the time time that I spent with him, and I am grateful that I'm healthy enough to enjoy it. No, I don't regret it one bit. I had my son at 22 years old. When he is 18 years old and going off to university, I will be 40. When I had my son, I couldn't afford to travel or anything of the sort anyway. I'm glad I got it all out of the way when I was younger and had the energy to deal with a small child and was too poor to go out and travel anyway. I was 17 when I got pregnant with my first child. I ended up having 4 and was done by the age of 24. Most of my friends ended up doing a lot of drugs and partying. I was always too busy working and taking care of my kids to be able to hang out with them. Many of them are either dead or doing very poorly with their lives right now. I wouldn't change any of it. My kids are great and they do great in school. I believe it's easier for them to be able to talk with me about their problems with less of a generational gap. I'm 32 years old right now and my kids are 8, 9, 11 and 14 years old. I got pregnant at age 19, had my son when I was 20. I was in a stable relationship, emotionally and financially. It wasn't on purpose. I actually didn't ever plan on having kids, but life happened. Now I'm glad I have him, and I wouldn't necessarily say I wish I would have waited, but over the last 4.5 years, I've spent a lot of time wondering where I'd be had I not had him. I'm pretty sure I romanticize the possibilities, and there's no use wasting time on it because he's here and that's not going to change. Finance-wise, I've been fortunate enough that there has never been an issue. His father and I split up a while ago, but do a relatively good job agreeing on parenting. I do not for one second consider myself a single parent. On the other side, I am in school again and I have a very good job. I'm a lot better off than a lot of young mothers statistically. I don't know if I'd be a better mother had I waited, but I know that I wouldn't have had the child that I have now, so I don't regret it.